Hi Sanele, how are you, man?
Very well, thanks, Pelani. How are you?
Nah, I'm great, I'm great. And I would just want to thank you first for just availing yourself during this busy time, just to have a chat with us. So basically, my name is Pelelani Ngubane, and I'm part of the Be Smart SA organization, which is an organization that focuses on trying to help out the next generation of accountants and bookkeepers. So we have created this platform where we call in our guests to come and share their stories on their experience and their journey in the accounting world. And today on our show, we have Sanele Cebekhulu. Sanele, welcome to our show.
It's only a pleasure, my brother. Thanks for having me.
Okay, thanks, man. So for someone who's meeting you for the first time, who is Sanele Cebekhulu?
I've never liked that question, even during interviews. I always ask them to skip it because I don't know
Yeah,
who,
man.
who is
But we
the
have
first
to have this.
story.
Yeah, yeah.
First things first, I am the last born at home of seven kids. I love
Yeah,
starting with that because I think
yeah,
once you get to understand me, you understand why my character is like this.
yeah,
I am a professionally I'm an accountant. I'm a
yeah.
professional accountant with SIPA. I'm a registered tax practitioner. I
Mm.
am somebody who's a lover of school education, academia. I'm currently completing a master's in accounting. I currently work for a capital fund company where I handle the Luxembourg capital funds.
Mm.
I what else? I'm from Durban, Imlazi.
Yeah.
I wanted to
Yes,
say
like
small
I've been
town.
waiting for you to tell us like a bit
I
about
wanted
your
to say
background, I've been waiting for you to start.
I
Yeah,
wanted to
man.
say I'm from a small town, but Umlazi is actually quite big. A
Yeah,
lot of
yeah,
people
it's very
know
big.
Umlazi. So I come from a very large township of this country called Umlazi, where I did my alma mater as well, the MUT. Yeah, I mean, what else do you want to know?
Now, I think there's a lot that we are going to know about you after this
Sure.
interview. So, hence, I have just drafted a few questions that I am sure people would wanna know about you. But first things first, we just wanna know who's that one person that inspired you to be like the professional that you are today.
Um, ooh, let me see. I don't want to offend anyone.
Yeah,
To be quite honest,
yeah,
I don't have anybody who inspired me to choose my profession. It was
mm,
something different. I think I've always wanted to follow my mom's profession, which was to be somewhere in the health
mm,
faculty. But in the 11th hour, she made me choose my subjects, which is or how I landed in the commerce field.
yeah,
And long story short, I've met so many wonderful people in the walks of life. I can mention Abu Bonkosi. I know he's gonna hate. Should he ever watch this video, he's gonna hate me for calling him by name.
yeah.
Bonkosi, Tando, Mandwa, our high school teachers, our TP. I've met so many people who've contributed both directly and indirectly into being this professional that I am. But I am gonna give a big shout out to the lady who entrusted me with my first job where I did my articles, Lynette van der Verheyen. She's one
Mm.
person I will always hold very high.
Mm. Nah, well, thank you for sharing that, my brother. I think a lot of people will be inspired about what you just said now. But another thing that I'm sure that a lot of people will be interested in, man, you have also mentioned the fact that you're a professional accountant that is registered with SIPA, and also the fact that you are a tax practitioner. And I'm sure that a lot of students would want to know about your journey, including your studies and the experience that you needed for you to be part of such organizations.
I was actually mentoring a kid, speaking to my brother who's mentoring this kid, and he's asked me to help the kid. So
Yeah.
there's two journeys. I'll first speak about Usanele's journey and then perhaps quote a more conventional journey. Sanele did his matric in 2013. It's weird talking about yourself in third party.
Yeah.
I did my matric in 2013.
Yeah, man.
And I went on to do a national diploma. Back then, it was called national diplomas. I am aware now it's just called diploma. I
Yeah.
did my national diploma at MUT Emangosuthu. From there, I went on to do a Bachelor of Technology, which is something you don't find these days.
Mm.
These days, people
Yeah.
do advanced diplomas. So
Yeah.
I did a Bachelor of Technology in taxation. Immediately after my diploma, I went and served articles. That's the advice that I had gotten to immediately get that portion out of the way. So as I'd mentioned earlier, I went and served articles, aka internships,
Mm.
aka training contract. You basically go through a 3-year rigorous training program that prepares you to take that board exam or that bar exam or however you want to refer to it. I know
Yeah.
SAIPA calls it a professional evaluation.
Mm.
You learn, you move away from seeing the big four independently to seeing all of them as one pie. You get
Yeah.
to see an actual trial balance moving from a profit, an accounting profit into a tax profit. While
Yeah.
you are thinking of that, you also want to be aware, oh gosh, what could SARS potentially pick from this trial balance?
Mm.
What could the auditors pick up from this? There's so much happening at once, but the training is 3 years long and there's so much that you learn. So immediately after my articles, I could not write my exam.
Mm.
For personal reasons, I lost my brother that year, and I decided I don't think I'm ready.
I get that.
Yeah, story for another day. I felt like, "Ish, I'm not
Yeah,
ready."
I get what you're
So
saying.
luckily, I got a very beautiful opportunity to go work for a listed company
Mm.
as an assistant accountant
Yeah.
at one of the biggest DCs. So that was amazing. I won't lie to you.
Yeah.
Looking at the
Yeah.
salary jump, it was a big jump.
Yes.
I think my salary increased by
I know a
105%.
lot of people are always interested about when you start speaking about money, like salaries
No,
and all
it
of
was
that, you
it
know?
was a big jump, right?
Yeah.
I started earning 5,000 rands during articles, and I always say now that I'm older, it
Yeah.
wasn't a lot of money, but because I
Yeah.
had no responsibilities at all, I
Yeah,
used to
it's a lot of
parlay with
money,
my entire
honestly.
money. 5,000 rands was a lot of money that just came to me directly,
Yeah.
and jumping from that to that was something interesting.
No, I
You
get it.
know,
You don't have to mention it, but no, I get what you're saying.
it was a huge jump. I'll never
Yeah.
forget it. So I stayed with that company for 2 years.
Yeah.
Immediately, um, after two, in fact, I stayed with them for 18 months. I got an invite through LinkedIn, the way I believe in LinkedIn, by
Yeah.
an accounting firm here in Joburg who wanted me to come and help with their cyber trainees,
Yeah.
which was a very beautiful opportunity. But remember, I still haven't written my board exam.
Yeah.
So I took the job, understanding that I'm going back into a training center to be retrained for that
Yeah.
bar exam. Luckily, Cyber has something called Project Achiever, which is what I sat for. Now, Project Achiever is a bridge. It closes the gap. For
Yeah.
example, there are companies that don't do audits. So
Mm.
it means for the full 36 months of your articles, you don't have audits at all.
Yeah.
And Project Achiever is meant to bridge that gap. So in my benefit, I'm back in the accounting fraternity and I'm doing Project Achiever and I passed my board exam. I was convinced that I was going to make it into the top 10. I didn't. I don't know how. Um, I think that was one of the best exams that I've ever written in my whole life of writing for
Yeah.
exams. It was beautiful. I know it's weird for a student to say the exam was so good,
Yeah.
but it was a beautiful, beautiful exam. So
Yeah.
soon after I qualified in 2023 as a professional accountant in January 2020, I'm lying. Yes, in January 2024, and
Yeah.
then it feels like 2024 was last year for some odd reason.
Yeah.
So, so January 2024, I then did my tax practitioner.
Yeah.
It's a readiness program. You write an exam afterwards. I
Mm.
think you need to get like 90% or 98%, but it's a very high pass rate.
Okay.
I managed to get that, and before you knew it, early, I think it was around February 11, February 13,
Yeah.
14. Just before my birthday, though, I got my two certificates as a qualified accountant and tax practitioner. I want to make it known that they don't require honors, they just need your degree. But in my case, because I love school, I decided to proceed with academic
Mm.
qualifications. So in a nutshell, that's who Sanele is. That's my journey. That was my
Yeah.
journey. There is a conventional journey. You go get your degree, BCom degree, you go get
Mm.
your advanced diploma. I'm gonna skip the diploma purposefully. I'm trying to make it known that you are required to have a degree, bottom
Yeah.
line. Or an NQF level 7
Yeah.
is it NQF 7? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
It's
7.
NKF level
NQF
7.
level 7 qualification.
Mhm.
You're required to have that to sit for the CIPA project professional evaluation exam. So once you've done your level 7, you then go serve articles. Unfortunately, you can't skip unless if you do 6 years in the finance fraternity and can have somebody corroborate that 6 years, you do what's known as recognition of prior learning, RPL. I don't advise for it. It it's good for older people, but if you are young, I would definitely say go serve articles because in the workplace, Pelelani, you do see the difference between people who went for those articles and people who did not. I know this might sound very judgmental, but you do pick up that my training and your training is absolutely different because one of us did go through the 3 years and the other didn't. So I would advise if you're young out of varsity, go ahead and do those 3 years. The exam paper is combines Big Four. So it's your Big Four
Mm,
plus the other sub modules. Sorry, it's been a while. Plus the other sub
mm.
modules, and it's theoretical, very practical. You read case studies, you read scenarios, and you respond. It's I wouldn't say it's difficult. If you can read and understand and regurgitate, then you're good to go.
Now, I think you've shared a lot there around cyber and being part of the sex practitioners, but you mentioned something there that popped something in me. So I wanted to ask you, were there any additional experience that you needed for you to be part of the sex practitioner bracket? Because remember, you explained well about cyber, then I understood and followed you until you came into text, but you did not go into detail there in terms of how do you go about for you to be registered as a text practitioner.
Perfect. So remember,
Mm,
in my case, while I'm serving my articles, you
mm,
get a pinch of everything.
yeah,
You get accounting. Mind you,
that's
accounting is not compiling a trial balance. Accounting is
mm,
bookkeeping, recons. You do all of that.
that
In
all of that. Yeah,
tax, you get exposed to what SARS is. You get exposed to pulling out an EMP 21, submitting an EMP 21, dealing with an EMP 21 audit, dealing with an EMP 501 audit, dealing with a VAT 201,
yeah,
extracting a VAT report, reading and understanding a VAT report, submitting your VAT. So this is all your tax exposure.
mm,
For that exam, the CIPER exam, I want to make mention of this. The exam is not theoretic, is not practical in that sense. Rather,
mm,
they would ask you a section 11 or section 12G question, a section
yeah,
11A question, but you would have what's the word? You would have gone through the training, the 3 years,
mm,
and the project achiever to mitigate this gap. Because I mean, you've already had 3 years outside varsity, you've forgotten what
yeah,
section A is, for example. And then for the readiness program that you take now to become a tax practitioner, SARS will then give you, I call it a PE, portfolio of evidence. They give you this really, really long thing to go through.
yeah,
It's very long. I know people who've not had the opportunity of passing in first try because it's
yeah,
very complex. You go from thinking you know tax to, am I even reading it correctly? You
yeah,
question
I get it,
your
man. Yeah,
own skills. So you go through that. Again, in my defense, I loved tax during uni days.
yeah,
I did an advanced diploma in tax
in
or a
taxation.
BTEC in tax. So you understand that my tax knowledge is always very fruity. It's just always there,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So you take that program and that program, I think I need to mention that program is, I believe it should be similar across all professional bodies because it's
yeah,
the same thing. It's given by SARS, and then your
mm,
RCB. I forgot what RCB stand for, but it's like your registered body that will then go and represent you at SARS. In my case, I'm represented by SIPA. Someone else can be represented by other professional bodies in the tax and finance fraternity. So you take that program, you pass that program, whatever the requirement percentage is, and then you're good to go.
all right, all right. I think that is quite an interesting information, and a lot of people would then use all of this information and try to do good things so that they can put themselves on the right path to be on these conversations with us. Because all that I'm trying to do here, I'm trying to bring in people that other people can learn from, Then I knew that you were one of them, my man. And thank you again for just availing yourself today. And another thing that I just wanted to know, man, you care to share how these accreditation helps you basically to be competitive on the job market?
Ooh, ooh,
Mm,
ooh. I was speaking to a very close friend of mine who is not. under any professional body. And I keep
All
telling
right.
him, the moment you get that certificate, Pelelani,
Mm.
it creates a new Sanele. It creates a perception.
Yeah,
Other-
that's the case.
it creates a
You use the
perception.
right word. I know.
You
You use
know,
the right word. No.
I've had the opportunity to sit on the other side of an interview where I
Yeah.
listen to people through an interview, and you
Yeah.
realize that already the moment I see a professional body, I'm expecting certain competencies. I'm not going to ask you, do you know how to do a cash flow? I'm going to ask you, what if my cash flow doesn't balance? Because I'm expecting you
Yeah.
to know these things, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it creates that perception. And if you come back in my position, if you come back, if they come back with an offer, it
Mm.
also allows you to say, unfortunately, I believe this offer is below what I had expected. Are you able to relook at it? So
Yeah.
it affords you that negotiating point. But
Yeah.
without that mere paper, I won't lie to you. Sorry, I need to say this. This morning I was going through my, I'm gonna call it history of applications, and
Yeah.
I see that I had applied for a tax accountant job.
Wow.
Mind you, I've been doing tax for a very long time, but because I hadn't registered, it was in 2023 around July, August, because I don't
Yeah.
have the certificates yet. They
Mm.
mised me. But now I'm sure if I were to apply again, they'll take me very
Yeah.
fast. You know, so
Yeah.
so
No, I
it
get what you're
places
saying.
you somewhere. Last year I had the opportunity of winning an award, of being recognized as an accountant.
Yeah.
And I need you to understand, without this affiliation, without these certificates, these things would not come. You know, it sets you apart. It makes
Yeah.
you very competitive in an absolutely competitive market. It allows you to say, here's what I think I deserve, and can we at least meet each other halfway? But
Mm.
without it, you are most probably going to accept the very first offer that is made to you.
Mm. No, I get it. Honestly speaking, what you have shared, it does basically explain to us that once you get yourself one of these accreditations, you basically trying to stand out from the rest, and that basically helps you in terms of getting like job opportunities and all of that. But you just mentioned something there. When you're explaining that you're an award-winning professional accountant, do you care to share more about that for someone who doesn't know Sanele,
My tongue slipped. I don't like
Yeah, yeah,
mentioning
yeah, man.
that.
Yeah, man.
Last year I was awarded by my very beautiful professional body,
Mm.
SAIPA, the South African Institute of Professional Accountants. They recognized
Yeah,
me as an emerging catalyst.
yeah,
Pelelani, you will understand, I believe in the art of education. I believe in the art of transposing knowledge.
yeah,
I always say this, even when I speak to my cousins, my nephews, my nieces, I am a product of go to school,
yeah,
after school, go work. I'm a product of
yeah,
that. If you see me with a particular phone brand, if you see me with my car keys, if you see me, I stay in this particular area, it's not because I knew somebody. Mind you, I've never had a job where I knew somebody inside. I've always applied for all my jobs, through an interview, got the
yeah,
job. And that's my growth in the accounting world. And the point is, I will walk in there with my matric certificate, with my diploma, with my BTech, now with my two honors degrees and my professional two certificates. So I'd walk in there with those seven documents, and
yeah.
Pelani, they will set me apart from somebody, from someone else. Right.
Mm.
So my professional body recognized through the pieces that I often write my opinions. I have a lot to say, so I write a lot.
Yeah,
They
man.
recognized through the engagements that I had. I normally sit in as a guest lecturer amongst
Yeah,
some institutions in the country,
yeah,
and they realize that at least there is a bit of seeds that I go around planting. And yes, it's very fun and funny to look at it now and say, hey, I'm a recognized accountant, excuse
yeah,
me, you know.
yeah, man.
But
Yeah.
yes, I had that pleasure, I had that luck
Mm.
last year. It was a beautiful, beautiful experience.
I think that's something that basically one of your highlights in your career, of your career, if I may say, if you were to explain it like that. Like I knew that you did receive an award last year, but I just wanted to know more about that. But thank you for sharing again in terms of that. But I have another question, which is now directly linked to something that you just explained now, that you sometimes sit there as a guest lecturer. But if I were to recall, man, it's not the first time you find yourself standing in front of people and facilitating, you know. You have experience facilitating before, because I have been in your classes, like I think it was 2017 or something. It was commercial law, and you were there being the one there in the front explaining. And now I'm here. I'm also now eligible to register as an associate general accountant, and you contributed towards that. So, my man, is it something that you also looking to like continue with or explore again in the near future?
First of all, I wish you can
Yeah,
see. So I'm wearing a jersey. My hairs
yeah,
came up because I love. I need to say this. I
yeah,
realize I'm getting old.
yeah.
I'm realizing that I'm getting old. I'm losing
I am
hair.
getting old, man.
I'm getting old, and
Yeah,
I think 2025 and 2026, the biggest blessing is I come across a lot of people. Some I don't recognize.
yeah,
I stay in Joburg. I don't expect to see somebody I worked with in many years ago
yeah,
saying, "Oh my gosh, Nangu Cebekhulu." And I'm like,
yeah,
if you call me Cebekhulu, we definitely went to MUT with you. If you
yeah,
went
yeah,
at DUT, people know me as Uvula Mazulu.
yeah,
VUT, I'm Mr. Cebekhulu.
yeah,
UWC, I am the unknown guy because they just didn't
yeah,
know me. So
yeah,
if you call me Cebekhulu, I know for a fact we went to MUT together.
yeah.
And I'm bumping to a lot of people.
Mm,
It's my some people even see my brother and be like, "Hey, Cebekhulu." He's like, "No, it's not
yeah,
me. It's
no.
my younger brother." So it's
Oh yeah.
crazy.
Mm,
My mom has a dream for me, Pelelani, that she always says the reason why I jump a lot in corporate is because I haven't really found my foot. I beg to differ. I think I have found my foot, but she says my calling is to be in academia.
yeah,
She says that's where I'm gonna be happy. I believe I am
yeah.
happy. She says no, there's more happiness for me in academia. So it is something that is on the pipeline. Probably not now.
Yeah,
I only just turned 30 last month.
yeah,
So I do want to give myself some time. I remember Mrs. R asking me, I'm not sure if she ever lectured you, asking me many, many years ago,
mm,
saying, if you eventually go into corporate, how long would you want to stay? And I
yeah,
said to her, by 40, I want to be out.
yeah.
I've got 10 years to do
Still
that.
have 10 years, my man.
10 years is a very long
Yeah,
time,
it's a
right?
very long
And
time.
I'm
A
not
lot can
rushing it.
change in 10 years.
I,
Yeah,
precisely, a lot
yeah,
can still happen. And maybe there is a calling. Maybe I'm sorry, I'm a typical PK, I'm a pastor's kid. So
yeah,
it's very weird to talk and not mention God. Maybe God is
yeah,
working something. I remember a pastor once said, in a great plan, God has a master plan. I think it's in Isaiah where Isaiah says, um, what you are walking on has already been completed. I'm a God of what's the how to put it? I'm a God of who's already answered. So I'm a God of the future. I know what's gonna happen. And look at it, in 2017, I was what, 21, 22,
yeah. You're
20.
still young at that
I
time.
was
Yeah,
still a lad.
yeah,
And and look at the opportunity that I was afforded back then.
mm,
Look at how it gave birth to sitting in two different institutions last year and guest lecture, big institutions. This year, I
yeah,
already have a few of those lined up. It's a big opportunity. But back then, I didn't know. Back then, I was just, hey, I'm enjoying teaching com law. Hey, this
yeah,
is fun.
man.
This
Yeah.
is fun. But look at us now. So
Mm,
I'm not to be all spiritual and whatever, but sometimes God works in ways that we just cannot explain.
mm. Amen. I think that was very deep, my man. And honestly speaking, I've like enjoyed having a conversation with you today. And I think I still have like a few questions, but these questions that I have now are not directly linked now to your experience and everything. But I just wanna get your insight or get your basically your opinion on these, you know. So I just wanted to know if maybe you think that we'll reach a point where maybe the universities of technologies and the TVETs will be basically giving their flowers for producing competent professionals, you know.
No, we need to rephrase that question. We need to
Mm,
rephrase that question. Your question is incorrect. There's a
mm.
meme of that lady who says that.
Yeah.
I need to picture like I think
Yeah,
we are living in those moments.
Mm.
I think we are living in that. So 2015, I worked for Facet,
Yeah.
and one of our projects was to realign students with the concept of TVET.
Yeah.
Personally, I never understood it, but because I worked for Facet, so I got to learn.
Yeah.
And I can comfortably say, and I'm okay to stand in front of the whole country and argue
Yeah.
this point alone.
Yeah, man.
I can comfortably say UOTs
Yeah.
and TVET colleges are currently producing one of the best workforces for the country.
Mm.
But once upon a time, I tried doing an MPhil at UNISA, and I was studying accounting education, and
Yeah.
as my research. And some of the things that I read were a student who comes from a TVET is actually much more stronger than a student who comes from a UOT or a traditional university, which
Yeah.
is why you find now we have institutions which are comprehensive institutions, your Unizulus, your NMU, your UJs.
Yeah.
The reason why the government is maintaining those institutions is because there is a gap, there is a lag. And unfortunately, I don't know where it is. I was once asked this by my auditing lecturer back at
Yeah.
NET 500 years ago,
Yeah.
she asked us, who do we
Yeah.
blame for the unpreparedness of students? Is it the
Yeah.
community, the lecturer, the parents, the family? And
Mm.
the answer is we don't know. It's such a
Yeah.
vast environment out there. So we are living in the moments where and Pelan, you will only realize this once you sit in a boardroom in an
Yeah.
interview and somebody says, no, I went to a UOT. Oh no, I
Yeah.
went to this particular TVET. And you ask yourself, where is the TVET? So we are living in those moments. I mean, if you go to Etigwini municipality, maybe sorry to mention it, but you
Yeah.
find that so many of its staff are people who went to local TVET colleges. If
Yeah.
you come to Johannesburg at the Joburg Metro, you realize so we do have and the weird part is most of people who've gone to traditional universities
Yeah.
find comfort in the private sector.
Yeah.
The public sector is
Yeah.
oozing with, I'm going to call it the deemed or previously deemed second best
Yeah.
people. And that's the reality, you
Now,
know.
honestly speaking, the reason why I wanted to ask this question is because I also feel like, and not to say feel like, but basically, I also have seen that now a lot of people who are in the market and a lot of people who are sitting in high seats and people who are occupying high spaces are people that went to TVET, are people who went to universities of technology, which is not something that is necessarily more emphasized when we are growing up, So that is why I wanted to mention that so that people can basically know about this and do not feel ashamed about where they are or they go to for schooling and all of that, because we are a product of that. So we are also
Absolutely.
proud, man, We are also proud, yeah.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
another thing, my brother, that I just wanted to ask you, and now we are reaching the end of our interview. I just wanted to ask you if you have any advice for maybe a student or a learner that's just recently finished their matric, but they did not basically pass in such a way that they were able to be admitted in those universities such as UKZN and also UJs and all of that. So, do you have any advice that you can give out to that student?
In the words of the late Professor
Mm,
Rashid Small,
mm,
upskill and reskill. I'm forgetting who the author is who said the the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who can't read and write, but it will be those who can't unlearn, relearn, and learn. Those are three things that any person, whether you've made it, you've not made it, whether you're trying to find your foot or whatever the case might be, if you're unable to unlearn, relearn, and learn, you will have an issue in this world. So if you are a matric student who was not able to make it, or you are somebody who has a diploma, has a degree, and you're sitting at home, unable to find a job, you can always reskill, you can always upskill. You can always go back, relearn. You can always go back and unlearn. You can always go back and learn. There's always something new to learn. In the words of my auditing lecturer, when we asked her for a scope, She said, I need to say this in isiZulu phelelani.
Yeah.
Ngani zami, ayikho into engabalulekile. Hamba niyofunda ibhuku lonke. And
Yeah.
loosely translated to there's nothing not important. We should go and study the whole
Yeah.
textbook. And
Mm.
while it may have been meant as a joke, those words created something in me that there's always something new to learn, and you need to be information hungry, you need to be knowledge hungry, then you become a better version of yourself.
Sanele. Oh, thank you, my man, for taking your time just to have this conversation with me and just to help out people out there. And I would like to also thank our viewers that tuned in into this channel. Have a great evening, Sanele.
Thank you so much, Pelani. It was only a pleasure. I actually
Mm.
enjoyed this. It was only a pleasure, my brother. You take good
All
care
right.
of yourself.
Thanks, man.
Cheers, eh?
Okay, thanks, man. Cheers.
Bye bye.
Sure.
Be Smart SA. Accounting professionals you can trust. Reach out to our consultants.